Welcome to the ultimate React Native Firebase tutorial. In this comprehensive tutorial, you're going to learn a lot of things. You're going to learn Firebase integration, Firebase authentication, social login, push notifications, navigation, and CRUD operations. In this 2-hour tutorial, we're going to create a food app. With that food app, you can register new users and save them to Firebase. You can sign in using those users. You can navigate when sign-in successful, and you can also, using Google sign-in, you can also push notifications when the app is closed. And you can store the data in Firebase Firestore. In this database, you can get the data and read it and display them in the screen. I mean, you can fetch your data from Firebase Firestore database. You can get them, you can add data, you can delete data, so you can delete foods or categories, you can add food or categories, you can edit food or categories using Firebase Firestore and the CRUD operations. This course is totally free and the source code is provided. This 2-hour tutorial is for all level, whatever you are, beginner or an expert. If you don't have any knowledge with Firebase, this tutorial is gonna make Firebase easy to you. So what are you waiting for? If you are interested, subscribe to my channel, and if you like that video, please hit the like button. And if you are interested in learning React Native or Node.js or React.js or JavaScript, subscribe to my channel, because in my channel I have a great tutorials for you. And in next month I'm gonna create a Redux toolkit tutorial, and in December I'm gonna create Node.js tutorial, and next year I'm gonna build a full app, a full e-commerce app using React Native and Node.js. So if you are interested in learning React Native or Node.js, please subscribe to my channel. See you in the tutorial, and thanks for your watching. In this lesson, we're going to learn how to integrate Firebase in Android app. Okay, now let's go to Firebase. Let's create a new project. Let's rename that project React Native Dream. And let's continue. We don't need the analytics right now. Let's create a project. We have now our project. Let's press continue. Now let's create, we have a Firebase project. We want to create an app inside this project. We can create Android app, iOS app, or web app. Now let's create an Android app. We need here the package name. We can get it from our code, from Android app, src, main, Java, main application, or main activity, any one of those. So let's copy that and add it here. And let's register a new app. In next step, let's download that file because this file is very important. Let's download it, Google service.json, and I'm gonna where to put that file. Here we should put it inside our project, inside our app folder. So now let's show our file, Google service.json, inside our code, inside the app. Open Android and open app, and let's drag and drop here. Okay, let's press next, and continue to console. Now let's install our package that's responsible to connecting Firebase to our app. Let's type React Native Firebase and open that link. Now we need to install that package. We're gonna add React Native Firebase app. Let's install it. Then we need to make some configurations. Inside our app build.gradle, let's add that line of code. Inside Android build.gradle, down here in dependencies, let's add this. That's this line of code, and press save. And we should add that line of code too in Android app build.gradle. So here, Android app build.gradle, let's add that code at the top of here. And let's press save. Now let's try to run our app. You are on Android. Now we have connected our Firebase to our React Native Android app correctly. In the next video, let's connect it to iOS app. So don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe and continue watching this list because you're gonna learn everything about Firebase in this playlist for beginners. Thanks for your watching. In previous lesson, we've learned how to connect Android app with Firebase. In this lesson, let's learn how to connect an iOS app with Firebase. Let's add an app inside our React Native project in Firebase. Let's add iOS app. Now we have to add the bundle ID. Where can we get that bundle ID? Let's open Xcode. To open Xcode from terminal, just type that code, exceed -b iOS. That allows us to open Xcode inside that project, as you see. Now let's get our bundle ID. We can get it when we press here. Just press on signing and capabilities. Let's copy that bundle identifier and copy and paste it here. And let's register a new app. Let's download Google info.placed. And now let's press next, 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 continue to console, and let's go to React Native Firebase. First, we need to add those configurations. Download the Google service, Google info.placed inside our app using Xcode, open the project and add files to that project. So that's our project. Let's press on add files to project. And let's go for downloads and select that file that we have downloaded from Firebase to connect our iOS app with Firebase. Let's press on add. Now we've added that file. Let's go down. We need to add that code inside app-delegate.h. Let's add that import. Here in Xcode, we can put it using Xcode. Here, we can make it also using VS Code. If we open iOS and if we open that folder, the file name, we can add it here too. Add it wherever you want, okay? But it's better to add it using Xcode. And now let's add this Fire app configuration inside did finish launching without options function. So let's search at this function. We can see it here. All we need to add that file, that code here inside this function. You maybe wonder why Xcode is better in adding configuration. I'm gonna tell you, because Xcode allow us to see our errors, because we have an error here, Firebase file not found. That's because we didn't install the bots yet. So let's scroll down, and auto-linking and rebuilding. Here in iOS, we need to open the iOS folder, and run that command, bot install repo update. So let's edit and wait until our bots are done. We got here an error while we are installing the pods. The Swift pod Firebase core installer depend on Google utilities, which doesn't define modules. So let's solve that issue. Let's copy it and open a new tab and press that issue. You will get this Stack Overflow. link. I will leave that link in the description, so don't forget to check it. And now let's add those. He's telling to add those inside bot file. We here in bot file. Let's add them. And add this too. Now let's run bot install again. Bot install repo update. Again. And let's see. Great, we have installed them correctly. Now let's try to run our project. Let's type exceed-b iOS to open the Xcode. And now let's try to clean first and build. I have a notice. Because my ship is M1, so I need to add this step. If you are using the Apple chip, I mean MacBook Pro with M1, you have to add this ARM64 here. Just press on the project name on that project and the build settings, any iOS simulator SDK, and add ARM64. And else, inside bots, press on bots, press on build settings, and any iOS simulator SDK, just add ARM64. And now let's run the project. Finally, build is successful. After all of those errors that we have made, and it's a good experience to face those errors with me. You maybe don't face those errors. For example, if your chip is not M1 chip, you will not face that error. So we have successfully connected our Firebase with our iOS app. Don't forget the like button and see you in the next lesson. And we're gonna make an authentication using Firebase. Thanks for watching. After we have connected our app to our Firebase, today we're gonna learn in this lesson how to make authentication, how to sign up a user. If you see here, I have here a sign up screen that I've created before. Don't worry, if you can't create it, just check my video. If you open my YouTube channel, you'll get that video inside videos. Look, that video, create a beautiful login and sign up screen in React Native, and the link of that video in the description. So now let's create our authentication using Firebase. That is the Firebase console. Let's select our project. You will see here authentication. Just press on it and press get started to enable the authentication in Firebase app. Let's add new provider and let's make it email and password. Let's enable that and press save. Now we can register and sign in and sign up using Firebase using our email and our password. Now let's try it. Let's open our package, React Native, Firebase, and install our package. Let's scroll down to authentication and install that package, React Native Firebase Auth. Let's install it. You have to know, after you install any package, you need to open iOS, cd iOS, and install its bot using that command, bot install. Now let's run our iOS app, Yarn iOS. Now the build is successful and we have added our Firebase auth package that we're gonna use to make authentication using Firebase. Now we want to make a test to sign up a user. Okay, let's create a function called sign up demo or sign up test fn equals to, we're gonna import our import auth from our package that we have installed, React Native Firebase auth. Okay, and now auth dot create auth, don't forget the brackets, and let's auth dot create user with email and password. Okay, and we have here two arguments. The first argument is email and the second argument is the password, and both are strings. Okay, so the first argument is email, just type email here, and first argument is the password, to type the password here. And let's make our promise. If you don't understand promises, I have a video in this channel describing the promises, so don't forget to check it and I will leave it in the description. Alert user created. Then if the process is successful, I mean if we create a user with email and password successfully, we're gonna get that alert. But if we have an error .catch, we're gonna console.log that error to see what's happening. So let's test that function using that button, but that button, it doesn't work. So let's make it work. Let's open our components, our my button, and add that property. On press equals to on press. And now here in sign up screen, on press, let's add our function to it. Sign up test fn. And now let's add an email and password, or let's make it like this to check any errors. Okay, we have here our terminal. Let's press sign up. We have here an error called error auth invalid email. The email address is badly formatted because we didn't add an email yet. So let's make it like this. Test email @gmail.com. Now it will work. Let's press sign up. User is created. Now let's check our Firebase database. Here inside our authentication, let's press on users. Now we have here a user with email testemail@gmail.com. Now I know that I have those things statically here, but I want to use those inputs. So don't forget to follow this playlist, because in the next lesson, we're gonna learn how to control those inputs, and you're gonna learn how to add your users using those inputs, adding the password and confirming the password and the email and sign up, and create a user with those inputs fields. So don't forget to subscribe and follow me for more and more. Now we can register users and save their data in the database using that function create user with email and password. But if you notice here, we do this statically. I mean, we want to make those inputs generate the password and email, not from the code. To do this, First, we have to learn how to control text input. In React Native, to control text inputs, you need two properties, and those properties are value and on change text. Those two properties, we make them to control inputs in React Native. And to control text input also, we need to save the data in the state. So let's create use state hooks. Const email set email equals to use state, and we will start with empty string. Okay, let's create another one. Const password set password equals to use state, and let's add the last use state hook. Const confirm password set confirm password equals to use state. Now we have three state variables or three state constants to control those three inputs. Okay, now let's make the first property, and that property is the value, and the first value will be email, the first element in the array of the use state. If you don't know what use state do in React, please check the video in the description. And don't worry, I will talk about use state here and I will describe it to you so you can learn it, but briefly. Now the value here will be the email, and the second input, the value, is gonna be password. The third input, the value, is gonna be confirm password. Now we tell React Native that we want that input field to take the data or the string of this field. Now let's add the second property, and second property is on change text, and it take an argument text, so we can log it console.log text. So let's see what we get here in the console. If we type anything here, a, so let's set our state to that text. Let's set email to that text, and let's type anything, email. Now let's see what email value here is. Let's, for example, alert email. Look, let's try to use another thing. For example, my email at gmail.com, and let's alert it. So now we have stored our data inside that email value, inside use state. So now we can easily replace that string with this email. Okay, let's just put it up here. Now let's do the same, but with the password. Here on change text equals to text, set password to that text. Now let's add the password up here. So now let's create a user. With some email and some password, and let's save it and see what's happening in the database. But let's change that alert. For example, let's make it user created with those credentials, and let's add here email and password. So let's test now. Let's try to add a user with some email, like test email testuser@gmail.com, and the password is gonna be 12345 6. Now let's sign up a user. Great, user created with those credentials. Testuser@gmail.com and 123456. So now let's check our database to see our user. Here in authentications, we have here our user with testuser@gmail.com. Let's try one more time. Let's make it new one at gmail.com with password 098, and let's press sign up. User created with those credentials, new one at gmail.com. Let's refresh that page to see. Great, our new user has been registered in Firebase successfully. So, in that video, you've learned how to control React Native inputs and how to register users to Firebase. Follow me for the next lesson to learn how to log in to Firebase using Firebase accounts. In that lesson, we're gonna learn how to handle happy scenarios and the error scenarios. I mean, when we register in Firebase, we can successfully register the user, but we can get an error. For example, if we register with email that exists or we give it a weak password. So let's learn how to handle callbacks with success or fail scenarios in Firebase. Now we have learned how to register new account to Firebase. If we see here, and the user has been saved in the database, but now we don't want to show that alert. I want, when I register a new user, I go to the login screen. So today we're gonna learn how to do this using React navigation. I have a video in that channel, I left it in the description. In this video you can learn how to manage navigation, but I will do it here too. I will show you how to do here right now. Okay, let's open our Google and let's type React navigation. I will do it real quick, but if you need explanation, you can check the video in the description. I'm gonna install that package. And those two packages. I'm gonna copy that code in app.tsx. I'm gonna open that Stack Navigator and install that. And this library too. And let's run our bots. Let's create a new folder called navigation. My stack.tsx, export default login sign up. If you don't understand what I am doing here, please check the video in the description. Login screen. My stack. We need to rerun the app. Yarn iOS. Now we have here our stack. we have here the login screen. So let's go. Let's make the sign up first to render the sign up. And let's reload. Now we are here in the sign up screen. I want, when I press in the sign up with account, I go to login screen. Okay, so let's go in sign up screen and add that code. Navigation. I will comment that alert and I will go navigate to login. After we create an account, just we're gonna go to login, and let's change that alert to make it user created. Please login. Okay, so now let's test it. Let's create a new user at gmail.com with password, for example, A12345, A12345, and sign up. Now, user created with those credentials, please log in. And we are here in the login screen. Now we have handled the success scenario of Firebase. The success scenario when we register successfully. But what if we register not successfully for any reason? For example, for a weak password, or we register a user that is already exist. So we have to handle those errors. For example, let's add a user, new one at gmail.com with that weak password 1 and 1. And let's see what we get here in the console when we log that error. When we press sign up, we have here error auth weak password. The given password is invalid because it's weak. Now we want to show that in the alert. Here in Firebase documentation, we can see some property that we can use. For example, the code, the message, or the native error code. So let's try to take that code to see error.code and see what's happening here. If we press sign up, now auth weak password when we register the code. So let's try to log the message. When we press sign up, the message say the given password is invalid because auth weak password. Let's try that property, native error message. And let's log it here instead of the message, and let's press sign up. We got here the message. The password must be 6 characters long or more. So let's make an alert of this. Alert.alert error.native message. So when we press here, we show to the user an alert say the password must be 6 characters long or more. So let's make it 6 characters. Let's make it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and here too 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and sign up. Now we have here another error message. The email address is already exist by another account. So let's change the email too. Let's make it new one, 2, and press sign up. Wow, the user created with those credentials. Please log in. Now we've learned in that lesson what to do if the register success or in the register fail. And in the next lesson, we're gonna learn how to log in users using Firebase. And when we success, we just go to home screen, and when we fail, we just stay in the login and show an error message to the user. Let's check our users. Firebase. That's our project. Here in authentication. Now we have new one at gmail.com, and that new one. Firebase is great, isn't it? After we have learned how to register accounts using Firebase using email and password. In this lesson, we're gonna learn how to log in with those accounts that we have been registered before. First, let's go to my stack and make some changes. I want to remove that header because it looks bad, and I want to make the first route as the login screen, not the sign up screen. Okay, so let's go to my stack. You can find it inside SRC navigation, my stack, and just let's cut that line and make it up here like that. And to remove that header, just add screen options, header shown with false. Now we just need to reload our app. Now let's try to log in with our email and password. Let's go to login screen. Let's import our oath, import oath from at React Native Firebase oath const login with email and password equals to function oath dot sign in with email and password, and it takes 2 arguments, and those arguments are the email and the password. So let's add them statically right now. For example, an email like AAAAA and password AAAA2. I know that's a not formatted email. I want to show errors and to console.log them using the then.catch. Let's handle our callback promises. Response console.log the response and .catch error console.log the error. Now let's make our button do that function. During on press, okay, now let's try to let's try to log in with that email AAA and password AAA and see the console. Login. Look, invalid email. The email address is badly formatted. So let's add a valid email. For example, at gmail.com and save. Internal error has occurred. Please try again. That's because incorrect email or incorrect password. But I don't know why Firebase doesn't give us an error to indicate the error. So let's try to log in with an existing email. That's our users. We can get them. Just select your project and press on authentication and select that users. Okay, those are our users. I remember the password of that user. I remember it's 123456. So let's try with it. And the password is 123456. Let's here in that function alert logged in. With success message. Now let's try with an email and correct password, and let's press login. Great, success logged in. So now let's control our inputs. I mean the email here and the password here. Let's control them using our use state. So as we have done before in the sign up screen. Those are use state hooks. Just copy them and paste them here. Email and set email, password and set password inside use state. And now let's go to our inputs to control them. The first input, the value of it is gonna be the email. And the second input, the value is gonna be the password. When we change the text in the first input on change text, we're gonna set email to that text. And here, on a change text, we're gonna set the password to that text. And up here, let's remove our static values and add the email value and the password value. Now, let's try. Let's clear the console. Let's press here. The password is invalid. The user doesn't have a password. Let's handle our errors. Let's make an alert to that errors. Alert error dot, let's copy the native error message from here, native error message, and let's try. When we press here, the password is invalid or the user doesn't have a password. We didn't enter anything. So let's try to enter our email. The email was, let's check it, new one, two. New 1 2 @gmail.com, and the password is 1 2 3 4 5 6. When we press login, yes, success, logged in, and we got here the data of the user and the user ID and the refresh token also. So now we want to go to home screen when we log in successfully. So let's create a home screen. Home screen.tsx, and let's create a functional component. Okay, and let's import it in our stack, in my stack here. Let's duplicate that code. We can duplicate it using Shift and Option and the arrow down. Okay, let's make it home screen here and home screen here. We can import from our screens. Okay, so now we will log in successfully. Just navigate to home screen. Navigation. Let's add the property here first. Navigation. Navigate home screen, and let's try now. If we enter a bad password, now we got an error message, the password is invalid or the user doesn't have a password. So let's try to add our password. Yes, success login, and we here in the login screen, in the home screen. Let's just center, line items to center, Felix of 1. See, we are in the home screen. Let's try one more time. If we enter a wrong password, we got an error. If we add the right password and press login, we can successfully log in and go to home screen. In this lesson, we're gonna learn how to push notifications using Firebase with React Native. Let's open the documentations here and go down to cloud messaging and press on usage. There is an important note here, and you have to install the app. We have done that before in previous video. You can check it in the description. And in that video, how to connect React Native app with Firebase. Okay, now let's install that package React Native Firebase messaging using Yarn. Let's install it. Let's go down to see the documentations. Here in the usage, we're gonna use it first with Android. First, we need to request a permission. Let's copy that code. Let's copy the import first and put it here. And let's copy that code, this function. And now let's get the token. How to get the token? Let's create a function to get the Firebase token. Const get token. We're gonna save the token in that constant. Messaging.get token. Okay, because we are using await, we have to add here an async keyword. Now let's console.log our token. Console.log token equals to and our token. Okay, and we need to run those two functions when the component get rendered. So to do that, we're gonna use a React hook called useEffect. useEffect. We want to make that effect one time, so we're gonna leave that array as empty. And here we're gonna call those two functions, the permission function to get a permission and the get token function. And let's save. Now let's rerun our app, Yarn Android, to see. We have run our app and we can get the token. So now let's try to push a notification. Just we have to open the Firebase, our Firebase project, Firebase. Let's go to console, React Native Dream, and go to cloud messaging is here. Now let's press here and press on create your first campaign. Let's pick that, notification messages, and create. Let's add a title, for example, hello world. This is the title, hello world body. We can send a test message here when we press here, and we just to add the token. We have console.log the token if we want to send that notification to a specific device. And let's close our app and let's press test. You've heard the notification sound. Look, hello world body. Let's send another one. For example, let's make it new notification. The new. And let's send another notification. Let's select our token. Our token has been saved and press test. Here is the notification. Look, new notification, the new. Now, if you want to send the notification to all devices, let's, for example, send to all devices. Let's press next and select an app. We're gonna select an Android app. Let's press next, schedule now, and preview and publish. All the devices that have installed our app will receive that notification. Let's see. It just takes some time. We got the notification here. See, send to all devices. Now you have learned how to push notifications to Android apps using React Native Firebase. Today we're gonna learn how to make social login using Google, how to log in using our Google account. So let's open Google and search with React Native Firebase. And let's open that link. Let's go down in authentication, social authentication. Let's go down, we have here Apple, Facebook, Twitter, and finally Google. First, we're gonna use that library, so let's install it. Let's go down. I will install it using yarn, so I will copy that code. And here in our terminal, let's add yarn, add. That's our first step. Our second step is to initialize a Firebase app in our Android app, and I have that before in the video. I will left you in the description, and you can press at the top of the video to go and check it. The third step, we need to enable Google sign-in provider in our Firebase console. So let's open Firebase console. Let's open our project. And let's add new provider. And it will be Google. So let's enable it. Let's add any email, your email here. And let's press save. And done. Now let's close this and close this and go to our third step. Follow those instructions to install and set up Google sign-in. So let's press here to install our instruction. Let's go to Android guide. Let's go down. Here we must add that code inside app build.gradle. That's our app. That's Android. That's build.gradle. Let's add it here and save. And let's add in dependencies those two lines. Here in dependencies, let's add those two lines. That is duplicated, so let's remove that, because we added that before previously in that tutorial. Okay, so let's go down and to make that line the last line. That line, it's at the top here. Let's cut it and go down and paste it here. Let's go down. Now let's generate our SHA code. So let's copy that code and go here in our terminal. Let's paste it here and press enter. And in our Firebase console, Firebase project, inside our project settings, let's select our Android app and press on add fingerprint. As here in documentation, we need to copy SHA code. So let's open our code. Let's go up. See here, app sign-in report. Search with that title and pick the SHA one. Let's copy it and paste it here in our Firebase. And let's press save. And let's re-download our Google service to JSON. We have downloaded it and added it to our project. Just replace it with the existing one. Replace. Now let's go back to our documentations. Now great, we've almost done with integration. Now let's type our JavaScript code. Let's import. Let's add that import. inside our login screen. At the top here, let's add that import, Google sign-in. And let's add that configure inside use effect hook. Use effect. To get that web client ID, we can get it from our Firebase JSON file. So let's open our Firebase JSON file. Let's pick the client ID of client type 3. So let's copy that string. Yes, that string. Let's copy it and paste it here and save. And don't forget to save that file too. Let's run our app. Let's continue adding our code. Let's copy that function on Google button press and let's paste it here. And let's save. Let's add a test button here. Just test button to test our Google. For example, button with title, login with Google, and when we press on it, we just fire that function on Google button press. And let's press save. Now let's test our function. Let's press here. When we press here, we have here our Google accounts. Let's select anyone to sign in with. Let's press here. Oops, we didn't get any data. We didn't log anything inside that function. So let's log anything. For example, let's log our token. And let's add alert success login. And let's try one more time. Great, success login, and that's our token from Google. We want also to handle errors. For example, what if we don't have that web client ID or we have any errors? So let's add try catch block. And let's console .log our error. Let's pre-beautify that code using Command K and F or Control K and F. And let's try one more time with invalid web client ID. Let's delete that and save. And let's try. Look, we got here a developer error. So now let's replace our client ID with the correct one and press save. And let's try one more time. Login with Google. Yes, login success. And that's our token. We can get some more data like user, and we can log the user. Let's try. When we press login with Google, now we have here our user, that's our email, learn native 2021, family name Sawi, given name Ahmed, and that's our ID, and that's our photo. That's our Google data. Now follow me for the next lesson. We want to make that Google icon works when I press on it. We want also to navigate to home screen when we press here and login successfully. And we want also to add a Google login with iOS. So don't forget next lessons. So subscribe to my channel. And if you see that video is good, please hit the like button and share it with your friends. And leave any comments if you want. Thanks for watching. In the previous lesson, we have learned how to add Google sign-in to Android app using Firebase. Today, we're going to learn how to use Google sign-in in iOS app using Firebase. So first, let's type React Native Firebase. Let's go and select social auth. And let's go down for Google sign-in. In the previous video, we have installed that package, and we have done that step and that step and that step. But we need to add the configuration of our iOS guide. So let's press on that link and let's go down and press on iOS guide. Let's go down. First, we need to install our bot. So let's copy that code bot install, and inside our terminal, let's open our iOS folder and paste that code to install our bot. The second step is downloading the Google Service Info list and replace it with the older one. So let's open React. Let's open Firebase. Let's go to console and select our project. Let's go to settings. Let's re-download our Google Service file. So let's go and select the iOS project and download Google Service Info. Let's open our downloads and let's replace it with that file inside the iOS folder. Let's drag and drop that and replace it with the older one. Okay? And let's go to our third step. The last step is the Xcode configuration. We need to add that reserved client ID inside URL schema types. How to do this? First, let's open our Xcode. Let's type that code exceed-b iOS. That command allows us to open our Xcode from React Native project. Let's press enter and see. Look, we have here our Xcode open at our project. So now, let's copy the reserved client ID from Google Service file. So let's copy that and open our Google Service and search with that key. Now that's our key. Let's copy it. What to do with it? We just need to add it to our URL schema. So inside our Xcode, let's select our target here, press here, and press on info. And let's go down to URL types. Let's press on that plus icon and add our URL schema. Okay? We've done with the iOS integration. So let's rerun our project. Let's press here to run the project. Let's press on login with Google. Oops, we have here an error. What's wrong with it? We just need to close our terminal and open it again. So let's close our Metro bundler and yarn start. And let's rerun our app. Now we will press login with Google. We have here our app wants to use google.com to sign in. Let's press continue. Select your email or use another account. I'm gonna use an email. Great, success login. But it doesn't make sense to make success login. We want first to make that icon instead of this ugly button. And when we press here and success login, we navigate to home screen. So let's make that real quick. First, let's use that icon instead of that button. Okay? Let's go to login screen. Let's close those and go to login screen. Inside our social media component, we have here that Google icon. We want to make it pressable. So let's open that component, social media. Let's open that component. We can go to definition here to open it. And let's wrap the Google image with touchable opacity. On press on Google. press. Let's copy that property and add it here. To pass it as a props, we have here a TypeScript issue, so let's add that code. Don't worry if you don't understand that code because it's TypeScript issue. Now let's try it. Now it's touchable. Okay, let's go to login screen and add that property on Google Press. And let's pick that function on Google button press and paste it here. And let's remove that ugly button. Now let's try to log in with Google. Let's try to press that icon here and press continue. Let's open our terminal to see what's here. Let's clear our terminal. Let's select. Now we have success login and we have here our data, our email, family name, given name, and ID, and so. So let's press OK. But it doesn't make any sense. When I press here and the login success, I want to navigate to home screen. So let's make that. Inside this function on Google button press, it's up here. Just let's copy that code and paste it here. Navigate to home screen and paste it here under that alert success login, and let's comment that alert. So now let's try to log in with Google. Let's press here, press continue, select our account or use another account if you want. Great, now we have success login and we are in our login screen. If you face any errors, please check our previous video how to connect iOS app with Firebase because it's an important video. And if you have any other issues, please leave it in a comment in the description and I will reply to you and help you. If you find this tutorial is good, please support it with a like button and share it. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Thanks for your watching. In this lesson, we're gonna learn how to create a database in Firebase to store our data. We want to store our categories and our foods, main dishes, and to make queries because we want to search in the food. Now let's open Firebase. React Native, Firebase. And let's open our Firebase console. Firebase console. Let's select our project, React Native Dream. Let's press on build and select Firestore database. But first, what is the Firestore database? Firestore is a flexible, scalable, non-SQL cloud database to store and sync the data. It keeps your data in sync across client apps through real-time listeners. And it supports also offline support. I mean, when your device is offline or there is no networking, we can cache data. So now let's create a Firestore database. Let's press here. Let's press on create database. Let's start in test mode, not production mode. And let's press next. Let's press enable. Great, we have created our database. Now let's add some data. For example, let's start a collection of data. Let's call it foods. Foods, okay. And let's press next. The document I want, any document has an auto ID. We can type our IDs like 1, 2, 3, or anything that we want. But I prefer to make the Firebase generate the ID for us. Let's press on auto ID to generate a dynamic ID. And let's enter our data. If we have a look at our image, we want here an image and title and rating and price. Image, title, rating and price. So let's enter them. The title, the food title, let's call it Super Dish. Super Dish. And let's add another field. It will be the price. The price is gonna be a number and it will be 9, like that. Let's add another field, the rating. And the rating is gonna be also a number. And it will be 5 stars. Finally, let's add the image URL. Image URL. And I'm gonna use that image. Let's copy the URL of it and paste it here. So now let's have a look. We have here an image, title, rating, and price. Good. Now let's save our first dash. Let's press save. Okay. Now let's try to get that data in our React Native app. In that lesson, I'm gonna fetch that only that dash, but in the next lessons, we're gonna fetch all those lists. I'm gonna make a list of food and save them to Firebase, okay? But in that lesson, we're gonna fetch just a one dish, okay? So now let's try to fetch the data from our database using Firestore, using React Native Firestore. Now here in the documentation, let's go down to Cloud Firestore and let's press on usage. Here we need to install the app module and we have done that before, so no need to this step. But we need to install our Firebase Firestore. Here in our project, let's add that package, React Native Firebase Firestore, and let's install the bots. That's those bots for the iOS, okay? Now let's go down in the usage. Let's copy that code. Let's first import our Firestore. Then let's try to get our data. We're gonna create an async function, const get data equals to async function. And let's paste our code here, our code that we have copied from here, okay? And let's try, but first we need to rerun Android app. Yarn Android. Now our app is ready. Let's just log in. Now we are here in the home screen. To make some changes on that code first. Let's add here await keyword and let's change the name of the collection. The collection in our database called foods. So we need to copy that and paste it here instead of users. Okay. And let's add a get. Allow us to get our food. And let's change that name to food collection. Foods collection. Now let's log that collection. Console.log the collection and see. Let's first call this function inside use effect. Get data. Because we initialized this function, but we didn't call it yet. So let's call it. Now let's try to log our data. We have here that complicated log. To make it simpler, just we need to pick the dogs from that data Those docs is the array that indicates to our food, an array with one element. So to pick the one element of it, just indicate the index of 0. Let's press save. Now we got here some log, but we want to make it more simpler to parse it. So just add this method, data, like this. Now we got here our data. That's the image URL, that's the price, that's the rating, that's the title, super dish. Let's try to set the state on it. Const our or dish set dish equals to use state, and let's set state. Let's set dish to this here, the first element of our response that we've got from the backend, I mean from the database, and let's press save. Now let's pick that dish and try to render it. For example, if we add a text here with dish dot price, now we have here the price. Let's add another text with dish dot title. We have the title, the super dish. Let's add the image source of it. It's gonna be URI dish dot image URL. And let's add some styling. Height of 100, width of 100. Look what we get here. We get the data that we have stored in Firebase. Okay, so we wait for the next lesson so we can add a lot of data here, a lot of dishes, so render it in a list like that, like this list, and also the categories. And also we're gonna learn how to add data and store it in the database from our code here using inputs and image pickers and rating and so on. So don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching. Wait me for the next lessons. In this lesson, we're gonna learn how to get list of data from Firebase. If we see here in our app, we have here a list of categories and here a list of foods. Okay, and we want to store those two lists in the Firebase and try to fetch them from our database. Okay, so let's first change the UI of the screen. I don't want to waste your time, so I will not waste your time to create that UI or to create that screen. I will create that screen and you can check the code. I will leave it in the description and you can download it from my GitHub page. Okay, so now let's to not waste our time, let's add that code here and press save. Now we have here that list, but if you look at the code, I have those category as static values. For example, if I delete that one and delete that one, I just got only two. I want to make it dynamic and I want to get them from the database. So first, let's store them in the database, okay? So here in our Firebase console, let's go to console and let's select React Native Dream. Let's store those data. Let's go to Firestore database and let's start a new collection. Let's call them categories. Okay, let's press next. Let's make the ID auto and the field we want here an image and title. Okay, so it will be image URL, and it will be string. Let's add a value. So now those are the images that I'm gonna use, okay? And let's add another field with the title. Let's call this food, okay? Let's press save. Let's add another document with auto ID. Image URL is gonna be that image, and the title is gonna be pizza. Let's save. Let's add another document with auto ID. It will be KFC. Image URL, and title will be KFC. Now we are storing our data in the database. We were making that manually, but in next lessons we're gonna learn how to do that using our app. I mean posting data to Firebase. Okay, image URL with that string, and the title will be French fries. And let's press save. Now we want to fetch those 4 documents from our categories. Okay, so now let's type here React Native Firebase, and let's open that link. Let's go down to Firestore documentation. Let's press on usage with flat list, and let's press on it. Let's go down, and let's copy that code. But wait, let's go down. Okay, let's copy that code first with that use effect. Let's copy it and go to our project here. I would like to mention, don't worry with those red lines here. It's TypeScript issues, and in TypeScript course we're gonna learn how to handle those fixes. I just leave them to make lessons about TypeScript with React Native, so don't worry. Okay, so now let's import use effect, and let's import our Firestore. Import Firestore from React Native Firebase Firestore. Now we want the collection of categories, not users. If you see here, the collection name is categories. So let's copy that string and put it here, okay? And let's rename that constant with categories here and here and here, okay? Let's go to our documentation and copy that code, the use state hook, loading and users, but we're not gonna make them users, we're gonna make them categories, okay? Let's make that categories, and this set categories. And here let's refactor that to make it set categories, okay? Now let's press save, and let's try to log our categories. Let's console.log categories and see. Wow, we have here the categories here, the image URL, the key, the title, KFC. Now I would like to mention that we have fetched our data correctly from Firebase. So let's continue with the documentation and see. Transforming the data, we've done that. Let's add that activity indicator when loading. Here, before return, let's add that code. And let's not forget to import activity indicator. Okay, let's press save. I want to see our app. Okay. Now our flat list. Let's copy that code. All the code from Firebase documentation. So no need to worry. Just copy the code from the documentation and handle it with your own. Okay. So now no need to this scroll view with those categories anymore. So let's comment them. Now we can't see them, and let's paste our code. Let's import our flat list, and let's replace users with categories. And let's render our category item. Our category item, that's the component we have created here. Don't worry, that component in the description, it's provided in source code, because it's not a UI lesson, it's a Firebase lesson. Okay, if you want to learn UI, I have a video in the description that will take you from zero level React Native UI and make you expert. You'll be able to build any UI that you want. So now let's import our category card, and that card takes two properties: the title, and it will be item.title, and the second property is image, and it's gonna be URI will be item.image URL, and let's press save. Now we are fetched our data, but it's vertically, so we want to make that flat list horizontally, so just add that property horizontal and press save. Now we have fetched our data from our Firebase, not static like before. We cannot get rid of that code. If you see here, that's the data we have added to Firebase. If you want to make sure of that, let's add another document to Firebase. Here, in our categories, let's add a new category. Let's make the ID auto, and let's add that field, image URL. Let's add that image, juice, orange juice. Let's paste it here, and let's add another field, and it will be the title, and the title is gonna be juice. Let's press save. Great, we have received that data, juice. Now we have 5 things: French fries, food, pizza, juice, and KFC. The same documents we have pasted here. Maybe that lesson is a little bit hard, so we're gonna recap it in the next lesson when we try to fetch our main dishes here. Those dishes, sandwich, super sandwich, at the special, and so on. So don't worry, we're gonna recap that lesson, and you're gonna be a Firebase expert in the future. So don't worry, and if you want my source code, you can find it in the description. Thanks for watching. Now, after we have got our categories, it's time to get our food collection. So now let's try to fetch them from our Firebase. First, let's create a collection called foods, or whatever you want. Let's go to Firebase. Let's press on go to console, and let's select our project. Let's press on Firestore database. Wow, we have created our collection before called foods, and we have one item here. So now let's add the other items. So let's add some foods. For example, let's add new document with auto ID. In our design, we have here in our design, in our products, we have here an image and a title and a rating and price and add to cart button. So now we have to be aware to add those data: the rating, the title, the image, the price. Okay, so now title of our food, for example, is gonna be burger. Image URL is gonna be, let's pick that image, that burger image. Let's copy that URL and paste it here. The price is gonna be a number and will be 12, for example. And the rating, or the rate, let's make it also number, and let's give him a rate of 4. Okay, and let's press save. Now we have 2 foods here. Let's add another one. Now we have here 3 items of food. Every food has a rating and a price. Let's edit this, because here a rate, and here rating. So let's edit that. Oops, it can't be edited, so let's delete it. And let's add a field of rate, and let's make it a number, and let's make it 4. Let's add. Look, we have updated in our Firebase Firestore. Now let's get those foods. Okay, here in our code, as we have seen before, we just need to add a use effect hook. Inside that use effect, let's type that const subscriber equals to Firestore dot collection to get our collection, and let's put our collection name, and our collection name is food. Okay, and on snapshot, that's the response. Now let's create a variable const foods equals to an empty array, and let's add our for each. We can copy it from that. Okay, this is gonna be the response for each, and inside let's replace categories with food, and that set categories is gonna be set food. So let's create a use state hook with foods and set foods. Okay, and now let's go down and set our foods to that foods array is coming from our Firebase. And finally, let's add our return function inside use effect hook. Now let's copy our foods to see have we successfully get our foods data from Firebase or not. So let's add console.log our foods and see in our terminal. Now we can see our data here. Image URL, that's the image of hamburger. Let's open it. See, we have our food correctly. So now let's add it inside a flat list. So let's add a flat list. It is gonna be horizontal too. The data is gonna be foods. The render item is gonna be, let's to create that component, that food component. But since I don't want to waste your time, it's not a UI lesson, it's a React Native Firebase. So let me create that component real quick, and you can copy it from the code that I give you in the description. You can use my code using GitHub page. I push code there. So to not waste our time and to make the video taller, let's create that component real quick. Okay, let's name it here. So now after we have created our food card, so let's render it, food card. Now that's our card. Let's give it our data. For example, image is gonna be item.image URL. I wonder where is the first image. So let's complete let's give him the title, item.title. Let's give it the price, item.price. For the rating, I have just removed it right now because we're gonna build that rating bar in separate lessons. So I removed it right now. But I'm wonder why the first image here I can't get it. Is there a problem with our image? Oh, now I know what's the problem here. Image URL should be like that. It's my bad, sorry. So let's edit that. We cannot edit the key. So let's add a new field, image URL. Let's copy that string and add it here. And let's update. Now let's get back. Now we can see our image right now. What if we add a new food? For example, let's add the food with that image. So now let's add a new document with title spaghetti. Now let's press save and see our great. Now we can see our new dish here. So now you have learned how to get data from Firebase. Just you have to install the Firestore package and to use the collection method and to put here the collection name. And don't worry about those red lines because those are TypeScript issues and we're gonna fix them inside our TypeScript course. I don't want to confuse you, but don't worry, we're gonna fix those red lines here. Thanks for watching and see you in next videos. After we have learned how to get data from Firebase Firestore, in that lesson we're gonna learn how to post data or to save data in our database. So now let's try to add a new category with those categories. To do that, we need to create a function, const, for example, add category equals to Firestore dot collection. We need to add here the collection name. We can get the collection name from our Firebase. That's our Firebase. Go to console, select our project and press Firestore database. That's the collection name, categories. So let's copy it and paste it here. Okay. We have a method called add. Inside this method, we just add an object. Inside that object, we just add the properties. For example, the title and image URL. Okay, the title is gonna be meals or big meals. Okay, and with image URL, as we see here, image URL, let's add that link, this image link. Let's copy it and paste it here and let's press save and let's add a dummy button right now. It will be a dummy button, but in next lesson we're gonna learn how to create a screen to handle this process using inputs. Okay, so now let's add just a test button. Let's add it here, button, title, to add category, and when we press that button on add, let's copy the function name, add category, and now let's try to press here. Let's press add category and let's scroll to see our new category. Now we have it here, category with big meals and with that image that we have bought. Let's try to add another one. For example, let's try with that image. Okay, so let's copy that image URL and let's go here. Let's change the title to be vegetables, and the image URL is gonna be that link. And let's press save and let's press add category. When we press add category, now we have our vegetables here. So now we have our previous category and we have added a big meal category and vegetables category. And in Firebase, we can see we have added new two collections. Now let's try to add a food. We have here 4 items of food. Let's try to add a food. Okay, so now let's create a function like that, const add food equals to Firestore dot collection, and we have to select the right name of collection, and the right name is food. Okay, let's copy that collection name dot add and let's add a new object and see what we need to add here. we need to add the price and image URL and the title. Make sure we have to add it like those keys. Look here, image URL, price, rate, and title. Okay, now let's add them. Image URL. Let's use that image. Okay. Title is gonna be fish with salad. Price is gonna be 9.20. No need to add the rate right now. Okay, let's copy that add food function and create a new button here to add food. Let's add it up here after main dishes. So let's add a new button with title, add food, and when we press on it, just paste the function add food. Okay, so now let's try to add food. We have here 4 items. Let's add food. Great, we have here fish with salad has been added, and it has been added also in our Firebase. So now let's try. We have an important note we have to do, and it's how to handle errors. We have to call back 2 methods, then and catch. Then return us the response, and we can do something here. Okay, and .catch, if we have an error, he can log us our error. So now, if you face any error when adding food, you can log it here. And you can also create alerts. For example, alert food added, and here alert for error happen. Okay, let's give it a try, and let's add food. Let's change the image URL. Let's use that, the big meal or hamburger. So let's use it, burger, $8 with that image URL, and let's press save. And now let's try to add food added, and let's scroll. Now we have here burger, and we have here another burger that we have just added right here. That was our lesson today, how to add or to post data to Firebase. In next lesson, we're gonna make that. We're gonna remove those 2 ugly buttons, and we're gonna add a modal with inputs to allow user adding food in our app using the inputs So wait for the next lesson, and don't forget subscribe and hit the like button. Hello guys, in this lesson we're gonna learn how to add food or categories, but from inside the app, dynamically, not statically. We have created our functions here, add category and add food, but those are static values like the title and the image URL. Now we want to make a new screen with the inputs to allow user to add title and image URL and prices. Okay, so now let's create that screen. Let's create a new screen with add food or category .tsx, and let's create a functional component. Okay, let's change that button, add category, or to make it add category or food. And when we press on it, we're gonna make a navigation. When we press at that button, add category or food, let's move to adding screen. Navigation dot navigate. We need to import the navigation property first. So let's put here in props navigation dot navigate, and the screen is gonna be navigate add category or food screen. Let's put the name here, but we need to put it in our stack first. Inside navigation, inside my stack, let's copy that line and paste our add food or category, and let's remove that button, the add food button. Now when we press here, we should go to add food or category screen. Okay, so now let's add here our inputs. Style, justify content, center, align items, center as well, text input. Since it's not a UI course, I'm gonna use the core components of React Native, but if you want to create a custom wonderful text input, I have left you a link in the description. You can check it, and this tutorial is gonna make you from zero to hero in building UI. Okay, let's add a text input of placeholder, but let's make that Felix one. Placeholder, category name, and another one for category image URL. Okay, and button with title add category. Okay, now we have here a category name, text input, category image URL, and a button to add that category. Okay, so now let's control our inputs. We can control them using useStateHook const. If you're not familiar with the useStateHook, I have left a video in the description. You can check it and learn how useStateHook is working in React Native. Okay, so now first category name, and set category name equals to use state, and it will be string. Okay, that's just a spelling error. Okay, let's duplicate this and make it image URL. Image URL. Okay, now to control text input, we have two important properties, and those are value, and it's the initial value, and like that input string, if we put it here, this text input have that input string. If we put AAA, look, the text input is AAA, but we want to leave it as empty string. And only change text, and it's a function that take the text we've entered as argument, and we can set our category name to that text. That T means the text. Let's type it like this to understand me. Now, if we press AAAAA, the value of that text input is AAAA. I'm gonna show you. Let's log that variable, category name, and save. And look here, AAAA. That's the value of category name. Value of category name is AAA, and we can change it, for example, to be 0000. Now we have controlled the category name. Let's control the image. Let's cut or copy those two lines and paste them here. Let's remove those spaces, and we are gonna just replace the category name with category image URL and set category image URL. Okay, now let's press save, and let's add our function that we have written before. Look at that function we have created in the previous lesson. Let's copy it and put it here. Const add food. Let's import just our Firestore. We can just import it from like that. Import Firestore from React Native Firebase Firestore. Okay, and let's just add on press to be add the category. When we press on add category, a new category is gonna post it in our database. But look here, we're gonna post a new category with the title of vegetables and that image URL, and we don't want that. We don't want to make it static. I want to post the data that we have written here. So let's replace the vegetables with that variable category name, and let's replace that image URL with that category image URL. Now when we press here, we're gonna post the data just we type here. Let's test it. For example, let's use that image. Let's copy the image URL of it, and let's add a salad, and in the title and image URL, we're gonna paste the the link that we have copied from that image. And finally, let's please just add navigation to go back, because I want to go back to home screen when I add something, okay? So let's add navigation. Let's add it first in the props, .go back. And now let's test it. Let's press here. Now we have added the food. We have yes, we have it here, a salad. A salad dish has been added in our category with the image that we have using, okay? Now let's repeat those steps when adding food, okay? We are here in add food or category screen. Just to scroll down and create. Let's first copy the function of add food here and paste it here. That function, we have made it in the previous lesson. Please check the previous lesson to have a good understanding of that lesson, please, okay? Now let's add that alert. That's to handle errors, okay? We need here 3 properties: image URL, title, and price. So let's create 3 use states hook. 1, 2, 3. The first is gonna be food title. Okay, the second is gonna be food image URL. The third is gonna be food price. Great, isn't them? And let's also create 3 text inputs with a button of add food. Let's copy that text input and just replace that with food title. And the value is gonna be food title and set food title. Let's create another one for the price or for image URL. It's gonna be food image URL, and that's set food image URL. And this is gonna be image URL. And let's create the last one, the last text input. Food price, set food price, and that's gonna be food price. And finally, let's add our button, add food with a function add food. Okay, I think my code is not formatted. If you want to format it, just highlight it all and press Command and K and F, or Control and K and F if you're using Windows. So now let's press save. Let's add just some margin here. To separate the food from the category. I know it's the bad UI, but it's not a UI course, it's a Firebase course, Firebase Firestore course. So I don't want to waste the time of React Native developers who can implement the screens and so, okay? So now our last thing, we just need to replace those statics data. For example, that price is gonna be food price, that title is gonna be food title, that image URL is gonna be food image URL. And let's press save. And now let's testing add food, but don't forget to navigation.go back first. Navigation.go back when we add food, okay? So now let's try to add that food with that image. Since we don't have a French fries, so let's add it. Fries with that image URL here. Let's copy it and paste it here. And the food price is gonna be 1,000. It's just for testing. Now let's press on add food. Great, food added, and wow, our fries is here with $1,000. It's the most expensive food I see here. Let's try to add another one. Let's use that steak image to add that food, steak, and with that image URL. And the price is gonna be, for example, 23 or 233. And let's add food. Food added, and let's scroll to see our food. Great, that's our steak with $233. Wait for next lesson to learn how to delete those foods and delete those categories. I hope that lesson was easy to you, and if you have any troubles or anything, please just let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching. In this lesson, we're gonna learn how to delete items from Firebase Firestore. Okay, let's try to delete KFC and juice. First, we don't need those functions anymore. Add category and add food. So let's delete those functions. And let's create a function, const test delete item. Just you have to type Firestore dot collection, and you have to use to select the collection name. You can get the collection name from Firebase Firestore, as you see here. For example, we want to delete something from categories, so let's copy it and paste it here. Okay, then we have to select the document key. Here we should add the document key. Where can we get it? We can get it from our flat list data. For example, let's log those categories. Log. That's the data of our categories. I want to format them. So to format them or to beautify them, just stringify them first and add those two parameters. Now and 3. Now they are formatted. I mentioned we want to delete the KFC. The key of KFC is that key. Okay, let's copy it and paste it here. What next? Next, we should select the method of delete. Here we can update, here we can delete. Then you can use the then and catch methods. And finally also to create callbacks if you want to show alert or something. For example, inside then, alert, category deleted, and finally .catch alert error happened. Now let's try to delete the KFC. Let's copy that function and add a test button right now with title test delete on press test delete item. Now we when press on that item, the KFC should be deleted. Let's try. Great, category deleted. Now we want to delete the juice, so let's copy the key of it. Let's search with juice. That's the title of juice. That's the image URL. That's the key of it. So let's cut it or copy it and paste it at the top here. Okay, and let's try to delete that juice. Great, we have deleted that category. Now let's try to delete some foods. So instead of logging the categories, let's log the food to see which one we want to delete. We have here the super dish. Let's delete it. Let's copy the key of it and paste it here. But don't forget to replace the category collection name with foods collection name. The foods was, yes, like that. That's the collection name of foods. So let's paste it here. Let's replace that with food deleted. Now let's try to delete that super dish. Let's press here. Great, it's deleted from our Firebase Firestore. Let's delete also that duplicated one. Fish with salad. So let's open our console and see fish with salad and fish with salad. That's the key. Let's pick any one of them and let's paste it here and let's save and let's test delete. Great, we have deleted one of them. But that it doesn't make any sense. We want to add a close icon here or delete button. When we press on it, we delete that category. So now let's create that close button or delete button. Let's remove that function. We don't need it anymore. And let's remove the button too. Let's go to category, component. Just right click on it and go to definition and press here twice. So now we are in category card. Let's add a button to delete. Now we want to increase the height of that component. Let's make it 120 and let's increase the flat list that contain it. For example, that view, let's make it like that. Okay. I know it's not the best UI, but it's not a UI course, it's a Firebase course. If you want to learn how to create a wonderful UI, I left you a link in the description. You can check it and you can go and learn how to create an amazing UI using React Native, okay? So now, to not waste your time, let's add our function. By the way, you can get the function from Firebase documentation. If you open Google and just type React Native Firebase and go here and just press on Cloud Firestore, press on usage and go down until you reach the delete that removing data. Yes, it's here. Just press on here. That's the removing data function. That's to remove the full item and that's to remove a field from the item. Okay, so now let's copy that code. Let's import first and let's create our function. Const delete item. And let's put inside that function, let's put that code. Firestore.collection. Let's format it. Firestore.collection. You have to add here the collection, the right collection name. You can get it from our Firebase Firestore, but I remember it. It's categories. And here you should put your key, your item key, as we've done that before from that data in flat list. So to make that, we want to pass it as props. So let's add a property called key or item key. And let's add it as a props. To fix that TypeScript warning, we just add it like that and put the type of it to make it string. If you're not familiar with TypeScript, don't worry about that step. And finally, let's replace user with category. And inside that button, on press, delete function. Finally, in home screen, we need to pass the data of the key. That property, item key, is gonna be item.key. We can get it from here, item.key. That's title, image rate, and that's the key. Okay, so now let's press save. And now let's test deleting from our Firebase. Let's delete that item. When we press delete, oops, it's not deleted. What's wrong? Let's try to log our item key to see. Why it's not deleted? Maybe that collection name it's wrong or something. Let's copy it from here. Oh, the collection name was wrong. We have to type it like that because it's like that in Firebase. If you look at Firebase, it's named with that key, with that collection name. So let's copy it. You should copy it and paste it here. Like that. So now let's remove that log and let's try to delete that category. Okay, so now let's press delete. Now it's deleted. Wonderful. So now let's delete that pizza. Great, we have deleted our pizza. Let's delete that French fries. Great, we can delete it right now. That's great. Now let's make that in the food also. So now let's go down here and let's go to our food card. Let's add that property item key equals to item.key. Okay, now let's go to our food card. Don't worry about those things, those red lines. Those are TypeScript issues, and we're gonna fix them in our TypeScript course. Okay, so now let's add a property called item key. And let's copy our function from here or from Firebase. If you want, you can copy it from Firebase. Const delete food equals to, let's format it, and don't forget to import that. Okay, let's replace food users with food, but now I'm gonna take it from Firebase because I don't want to face the previous error. Okay, let's copy it and let's paste it here, and here is gonna be the item key, and here we're gonna type food deleted. Okay, now let's add a button to fire that function. So let's make it like here, down here. Now if we press delete here, let's change its color to make it white. Now if we press here, we should delete that food. So now let's try to delete that steak. Great, we have deleted. Let's delete that burger. Great, we have deleted. Let's delete that fries. Great, we have deleted it. That was our lesson today. I hope it's easy to you. Don't forget about those red lines because those are TypeScript issues and I don't want to waste your time fixing them, and I don't want you to get confused about them. This is the function to delete from Firebase Firestore. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button. Thank you. In this lesson, we're going to learn how to update data in Firebase. Okay? So let's change that big meals to make it, for example, burger. So let's create our function inside home screen. Test update equals to Firestore dot doc, and inside doc we just put the key. Okay, dot update, and inside update we just add an object. For example, we can add the title of it to change the title, or we can change image URL. So now let's first try to change the title to make it burger. But let's get the key of big meals. Okay, to get the key, let's log our categories. So let's log our categories and press save. We have here the key of big meals. With that key, let's copy it and paste it here, and let's add a dummy button right now. Button with title test update, and when press on it we just fire that function test update. So now let's try to press on test update and change that big meals to burger. Okay, now let's press test update. Oops, we get an error. So what's the problem in our function? Oh, we didn't add the collection name. So we need to add dot collection and add the collection name, and the collection name is categories. Now let's try one more time. Test update to change that name. Great, we have changed it. So we can change it, for example, to one meal. And test again. Great, we have changed it. So let's try to change, for example, that food. So let's log our foods. Let's fish and salad. That's the key of fish and salad. And don't forget to change the collection name to be foods. Okay, and let's change the title to make it only salad. And let's press test. Great, it has been changed. Let's change the price. Let's make the price, for example, 1.05. So let's press update. Great, it will be 10.05. Let's make it 9. Let's test. Great. We can also try to change the image URL. For example, let's change the image URL to be like that, to be that image from that link. Okay, let's test. Great, we have changed it. So now you've learned how to update data in Firebase. Now let's create a new example with that add screen. We want to add an edit button here beside the delete button, and with it we can edit the product. So let's go down. Let's close that. And let's go to food card. And let's add a button here. We'll put them inside view with Felix direction of row. Let's really make that edit. And when we press on it, let's fire a function called edit food. And that edit food function, we're gonna create it right now. Const edit food equals to, let's add the navigation property. And let's navigate to add food screen. That screen, add food screen. Or add food or category screen, okay? But we're gonna take some parameters. And those parameters are, the first parameter we want to put is edit equals to true. To know that when we go to that screen, add food or category, we want to edit something, not to add something, okay? And we want to take the title with us. The title is gonna be the title. And the price is gonna be that price property. And finally, the image and item key. Item key is gonna be the item key. And now in modern JavaScript, especially in ES6, if the title in object, if the property equals to the key, we can remove the value and just leave the key. Okay, so we can remove that and remove that and remove that because we're using ES6 or newer. Now when we press on edit, oops, we have an error here, navigation. So let's use the navigation, not use navigation property, and let's use the navigation hooks. Okay, navigation hook, okay. Let's type const navigation equals to use navigation. Okay, now don't worry about those red lines because those are TypeScript issues and I don't want to hesitate you or I don't want to make you confused about them. Okay, so now let's press on edit. Now we are in edit screen. Let's take those params. Using that hook const params equals to use route. You can import it from React Navigation Native, okay? We can log our params to see. Now we have here the image and the item key and the price and the title, okay? So now we can first declare a variable constant to see if we want to edit or to add. Let's call it is edit equals to params dot is edit. Okay. Let's delete that. Inside those values, if is edit, the food title is gonna be params dot title, otherwise image string. Okay. And in image URL, if it is edit, the food image URL is gonna be params dot image, otherwise image string. Okay. And finally, food price, if it is edit, is gonna be params dot price, otherwise an empty string. Okay, what we got here? Number, that's the number, and it should be a string. We can skip it right now. Okay, or we can put in that and make it to string. Okay, now let's create a function to edit food. That's the function of add food. Let's create a button to edit food, and with function to edit food. Okay, so let's copy that function. Okay, let's make it edit food. Edit, it's similar to add, but we're gonna make some changes, and those changes are the collection. It's still the same. We just need to add the dog key. The dog key is gonna be params.key. Let's make sure of that. No, of item key. And this add, we're gonna make it update, not add, okay? So now we just need to add the document key and to change the add to be update. And finally, let's change those messages, food added, food updated, and this is gonna be error having. Finally, let's add a button to edit. We're gonna make a condition. If is edit, just return that button with edit food and the function edit food. Otherwise, just add that button of add food function. Okay, now let's try to change that only salad. Only salad, let's make it with 9 and let's make it salad. Okay, so now let's change. Let's remove only and make it salad. And let's change the price and make it 5. Now let's press edit food. Great, food updated and it has been salad with 5. Let's change that spaghetti. Let's press edit and let's change the name of it to make it sandwich. And the price of that sandwich is 40. And let's replace that image URL with that. Okay, now let's press on edit food. Now we have sandwich with $40. I hope that lesson was easy to you. If you face any problems or errors, just let me know in comments and feel free to contact me via LinkedIn or Twitter. I will help you as much as I can. I hope you enjoyed that tutorial and see you in the next tutorial. Next tutorial is gonna be Redux Toolkit. That's next month, and in December we're gonna create a wonderful tutorial of Node.js. So don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you want to have a big chance to get a free courses and free tutorials. Thanks for watching, and please share the video and don't forget the like button.